Very happy to welcome a good friend of mine, JP Williams. He's the Assistant Athletic Director of IT at Texas Tech Athletics. JP, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sean. I'm glad to be here.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. As I always do, I always like to dive into people's sports business origin story. What about yourself? How did you find yourself in the world of sports business?
Yeah, the grace of God is probably the easiest way to explain that.
But that's not an
I,
interesting podcast if we
yeah,
just sort of just do that
no,
and move
no.
on.
Yeah, I was actually an inside salesperson for a durable medical equipment company, and they laid us all off, and someone gave me a chance as a programmer. And I'd never done programming before, and that was across campus on Texas Tech. Went to Texas Tech. I've got a master's in sport management, and so Texas Tech is home for me. But that was a huge evolution within. I've never been a programmer before. I learned how to do it. It was something that put food on the table for my family. It
So,
helped me.
so I mean, as a former programmer, you can date yourself with whatever language you were coding in at the time.
Yes,
What
sir.
was what did you learn? What did you have to
So
code in?
I learned through C sharp,
There you
not
go.
terribly old by any means. I've only been doing this for probably about 7, 8 years now.
Hmm.
But from there, opportunity struck, and I was able to grow within that department. And after a few years there, I was the head of the IT department. And a colleague across campus calls me and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm leaving athletics. This is where you need to be." And
So
I,
you're on the if I say the pure college
yes, sir.
side, and from it in the admin and in the programming and tech ops and that kind of thing on the I guess the traditional campus side, not part of the athletics team.
Yes, sir. I was in operations division, which is going to be like your blue collar workers, all of your plumbers, your carpenters, your tradespeople that work there. And we built applications and managed data within what they did there.
Okay.
Then come 2022 was I received that phone call and I was like, "You're right, man. Athletics is where I want to be. This is where I've always wanted to be." Hence the master's degree in sport management. IT was just a random thing that kind of fell into my lap in a time of need. So we've evolved and here we are.
So what's the? I mean, obviously, yeah, IT is a backbone and a support for a lot of businesses, and
Hmm.
sport is one of them. And obviously, college and college campuses needs a whole bunch of IT infrastructure. What are some of the differences between, I guess, the campus IT infrastructure you need to make sure that the campus runs smoothly to what the athletics department needs?
Yeah, the biggest thing is I'm going to say, and I will tell this to anyone on campus, we move at a different pace in athletics. We have 15 sports, we have nine competition venues that we operate. Only two really large ones, but we do anything from desktop support within the athletics department to on a game day supporting anything technology. With the exception of broadcast, we have an exceptional broadcast team here that handles all our jumbotrons and things like that. Anything else technology based, we're handling that on a game day.
And so it's a combination of that pure IT support, like you said, making sure the
Hmm.
computer's running, that kind of stuff, but then also into that high performance, like supporting the coaches and what the athletes need, and how that there's been a long and strong uplift in IT and what's required there.
Yes, sir. As well as our fans. What are our fans looking for on game day? Are our point of sales working for our concessionaire? In our new South End Zone facility, we've got fan facing Wi Fi in our premium areas. So anything and everything that revolves around technology and sport, then we've got our hand in it in some way, shape, or form.
So that's a really wide remit for the department. What does because if you look at it from a pro team, there'll be people who are supporting from a stadium point of view, and that's the stadium and the fan engagement piece, like you talked about,
Yes,
POS
sir.
and Wi-Fi and those kind of things. But then also the high performance piece. What does your IT department look like to support all those different functions?
So I am the head of the department. I've got two associate directors of IT that are technician based roles. And then I've got an associate director of information systems that's going to do our data analytics and programming, things like that. And that is our department.
I mean, that was what I was leading to. It's like
Yes,
everyone
sir.
talks about department, but there's a lot of jobs and a lot of people, so it's a really must be an environment like, and you've learnt yourself where you can stretch yourself Do get hands-on. If you're a hands-on learner, it's a great place to learn
Yes,
because there's
sir.
so many opportunities there.
Most definitely. And I like to lead by example. So I'm never going to let my guys go out and do something new without me being there. I want to be able to help figure that out so that we're not just throwing someone to the fire. We had a new guy start on August 18th, and that's about 2 weeks out from our first football game. I was like, man, I'm sorry to do this to you, but you're going to be drinking from a fire hose for the next 2 weeks.
And again, from a leadership and a management point of view, how do you get someone ready for that? Because it's like, game day in all sports from,
Hmm.
the requirements and you can't move, you can't move a date. You can't say, oh, sorry, we're going to have a 2 hour delay on fixing that when kickoff is going to happen. How do
Hmm.
you prepare staff for, I guess, the manic nature and the high pressure that, sports IT has?
When I hire someone, I'm hiring for a personality. So I want that person to be personable and they can talk to people in a normal language that everyone will understand so that whenever we go out, you know, if it's a high pressure situation, that personality, they're not going to be overwhelmed. That's something else we look for. So we do as much prep as we can. We have Microsoft checklist that we use to check and make sure we've done everything we can. And even if we do everything we can, there is going to be something that's gone wrong. But if we've done our job right on a game day, I get to sit there and twiddle my thumbs with my guys. So,
Yep. Absolutely, but it is that I guess preparation is the best method, but also that like that bit of communication. As a former geek myself, and that's where I excelled, being able to talk to the business and translate the geek like that ability. Geeks now, I think it's a mandatory requirement. But you have to be able to communicate and what you want to do.
yes, sir, most definitely. It's we've got head coaches that call us directly, and we've got to be able to explain to them why X, Y, and Z is happening because we are a state entity, so we have to follow all the rules of the state of Texas that they've set forth for data integrity, security, everything like that.
So you've introduced there that Texas Tech. Tell us for those who might not know. I know my listeners in the US would know Texas Tech, but give us a little bit of understanding of Texas Tech as a school, and then also from an athletics point of view.
Yeah, Texas Tech, we're located in Lubbock, Texas. It is West Texas, and it's about the only thing out here. So, out here, we've got Texas Tech Sports, and that is the majority of entertainment that is in Lubbock. I mean, majority of our fans come from over 250 miles away to see our events. And with our 9 sports, we that's how we keep people entertained. And Texas Tech is very rooted in tradition and history. While we are not the oldest university in the universe, our football team just celebrated 100 years. So we've got all of that has been culminating this year with the introduction of NIL and everything else that has been changing with the collegiate landscape. We're actually number 5 in the nation as we speak today. Headed to the Big 12 championship for the first time this weekend, and then ideally we'll be in the college football playoff here in a couple weeks. So.
I mean, effort again from location and the program. I did want to. You mentioned their NIL, name,
Mhm.
image, likeness, which is a big game changer for the NCAA in the fact that there's opportunities for the athletes to be compensated for their name, image, likeness, and usage, and obviously that is a new requirement and
Mhm.
and would come with a whole bunch of governance and IT infrastructure. What have been some of the things that you've had to implement and look after in rolling out that I guess that change and that new phase of college athletics?
Yeah, so something really unique that we do is we provide a device for every student athlete. So we have 450 student athletes, give or take, depending on the year. And we've got Dell laptops that we provide them. That's probably one thing that has impacted us is getting those distributed. It's a large workload every semester. Other than that, we've helped oversee some of the application deployments or building applications and processes for the name, image, likeness piece for our student athletes.
Yep. And then you've got the rest of the team that is actually working on the commercialization of that and how that gets facilitated and reporting. And I'm sure that is something that's a growing requirement for you and your team.
Yes, sir. It's ever changing. So we are working day by day with different partners to see what data we can bring in to make sure that we're providing the information that we can to our higher ups.
And that was my next question. With a small and lean and really capable team, you obviously lean on partners and tools to do some of that heavy lifting. What do you look for when you're looking for a partner and tool and that you want to work with?
Results in communication, man. I mean, we've had partners in the past where we could have meetings over and over and over, but nothing's getting done. So
Yep.
one of our current data analytics partners that we use, PacIQ, subsidiary of Paciolan. Paciolan's our ticketing system. Man, they're awesome. We meet with them every week. We talk about, hey, here's what we're looking for. Here's what data we'd like to be modeled based on everything that we have right now. And they're going to have ideas from what they've seen at other universities as well. So they can ask us, hey, what do you think about this? And it's like, yes, you have that experience that we didn't know we were looking for. So that's probably the main two things is that communication and the results.
And are you an inquisitive person when looking for, I guess, new, fresh solutions, like being open to, hey, this is what someone else is doing, or, hey, JP, have you thought of this? Is it something that you want to adopt and sort of bring into your team as quickly as possible?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. You know, that's one reason why I love the seat conferences because you get to go out and you get to talk to people and make those connections. What are you doing? What can we do better? What can we learn from other sports teams, other universities, other professionals that they know what to do better than we do? You know, technology in West Texas has its struggles. It was difficult to get away from the paper ticket there for a little while. So it's COVID helped that along. That was before my time, thankfully, but just being able to go out and see what other people are doing is, I can't even put words to it to say how instrumental that is into what we do here.
And was that something that was sort of in your, I guess, back pocket or some of your drive in looking forward when you've recently had some facility upgrades? Were they things that, I want to sort of dive in on some of those projects? Were they some of those things that go, I'm going to take some of those learnings from my conversations or friends in the community that have done either similar sized venues, or how can I adapt what has been done at a super-sized venue that's not in my ballpark, but what's a Texas Tech sized implementation of that project?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you speak about it, we're in year 2, I guess now, of our Womble Football Center and our South End Zone facility. It's a $250 million renovation project, which for us is massive, right? We tore the buildings down, connected them by Skybridge. The Womble Football Center marries up to our Sports Performance Center, making this the largest contiguous collegiate athletic facility in the nation. So with that, I mean, it was like week 1 on the job, and I was tossed in and said, all right, we need you to review this and figure out what you like, what you don't like. And it was definitely some growing pains of I come from across campus where, we don't have that leverage. We don't have that freedom to do all that because money is definitely tighter on campus. It's like, well, we want this to be the premier facility. And what does that look like? And not just the premier facility in West Texas. We want this to be just amazing. Any time a recruit walks in or a family walks in or a guest walks in, that they're just wowed at what Texas Tech is and has.
So part of that is obviously the look and the feel and the finish, and the awe, like the grandeur nature of the size of the facility you're talking about. But then also a lot of IT is unseen, but like required. I know in many years we've talked at Seed at all the really cool tech is hidden and no one knows, but they know when it's not there. So
Yes,
what
sir.
was some of the and there's lots of options in, hey, what can we roll out from a tech point of view? How
hmm
did you start making those choices of this is absolutely required, or this is the shiny thing that's going to impress people, and obviously I've got to juggle that all in a budget that you've got. You don't have an unlimited amount of money. It might
Yes,
be
sir.
different to the normal campus, but like, how did you balance that piece?
Yeah, you want your technology for everyone to just work. Our job is making sure that technology doesn't stand in the way of others doing their job, right? We want everything to just be seamless integration. Of course, you're not going to see the wireless access point that's painted black on the ceiling, but you walk into our subterranean south end zone field club and you have Wi-Fi, you have cellular service, you've got everything you need. You've got 40 TVs on the wall with every different game. So when it came to the value engineering piece, it's, where do we pull certain things that we can make sure that we're still providing a high-end product?
Yep. And then how much of it is also, you can roll out the tech, but, if people, a lot of people, myself included, never read the manual, right? And so you roll out the tech and if your coaches and your athletes don't know how to use the tech, then it's not getting maximized. How did you go through that process, either working with your coaching staff and your high performance staff to say, hey, this is what we're rolling out, why we're rolling out, and this is the benefit for you?
Make it as simple as possible, because that's what I would want someone to do for me, not because of coaching staff or anything like that. I feel like we've got a really intelligent coaching staff, and how can we make their life easy with this new integration? Something else we threw at them is, you're moving, you're already going to be gone for 2 weeks. Let's get your computers over to Windows 11. So when you go into this new building, you've got a new computer, a new operating system, plus all of this new technology. We're just going to walk through it all at once together. And there will be growing pains, and you're going to call me at 10 p.m. some night, but that's okay. So that's what we're here for. That's why we have jobs, right?
Absolutely. So, that's obviously, you did discuss there year 2, like it's obviously a long project. What's in the future plans for, those continuing upgrades?
We are right now just going through what NIL looks like. Collegiate athletics is in a unique state where we don't really have anything on the docket for our project timelines, or that I know of, I guess I should say. But with this south end zone, we just finished our regular season home football schedule here. And I will say it was much kinder to us than year one. Our south end zone in year one, with it being open, we got our certificate of completion the day before the football game.
Okay.
And it was an adventure, a lot of learning and a lot of teaching and a lot of moving parts on day one.
But again, like many in the IT space, it's, it's a date that doesn't move. You want to take the learnings, but and minimize the impact both on your athletes and also your fans, but to still get the result.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we are blessed to have a great video team for our football department that is right there in the weeds with us when it came to this new technology. We're learning it together. How do we make it work? How do we show it to the coaches? How do we teach the coaches, teach the athletes? How do they connect their phone to the Bluetooth in their lounge? Or how do they use their podcast room that they have up in the student athlete or the football lounge? So
that's the thing. You're
like
also
that.
working with, like you said, you've got a video team that runs the game day and the operations, and you've got a different broadcast team, and then you'll have the sports information team that's producing all the content and covering the games. Again,
Yes,
that's part of your remit, to be able to support them, make sure that they can do their job, but then also have the tools to be able to talk to the Texas Tech fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got one of the best social media teams in the world. You can go find them online, anything Texas Tech everywhere. They go by Create06 because our phone code here is 806. So,
Okay.
but they put out some content like I've never seen. It's really amazing. Our big Adidas reveal back in July of last year was unprecedented, the numbers that we did on the Texas Tech socials.
Absolutely. And one of the things that has always been a long, I guess, IT requirement is making sure that your fans that are there can consume that content if they're at the game, but then also like post their own content. Now we're seeing
Yes,
more and more, people pulling out their phones, whether it's the run out, a touchdown score, or the celebration. Again, that I guess requirement on Wi-Fi and DAS to be able to do it. How much have you had to look at and upgrade those facilities to make sure that your fans have access to a resource, a service they want and need in accessing their phones, but then also it helps spread the message for Texas Tech?
Yes, sir. So with the, introduction of our new South End Zone facility, AT&T also came alongside and they revamped our DAS. So we had the first true G in Lubbock, Texas, and something that is on my wish list is whole stadium Wi-Fi, in-venue Wi-Fi. We've only got it in our South End Zone right now. I'm not going to say how good or bad it is on a game day, but we definitely would love to have that whole stadium Wi-Fi to really increase our fan experience and make it to where if we wanted to do some augmented reality or anything like that to tie into their phone, that supercomputer that they have in their hands, that would be amazing.
And the thing is, you've now started to get some of that data at the south end of usage, uplift, all of those kind of things to then start talking about what is the business case, for the full stadium, what the fan satisfaction survey is staying at one end of the stadium to the other end of the stadium. That's all the
Yes,
data
sir.
that you're currently collating.
Yep, that's correct. Being a state entity, we are unique that all of that network rides on our campus network. So we work with our campus network operations team. We work with our security operations team on campus to make all that work. Whereas, a whole stadium Wi-Fi, if we were to work with AmpThink or someone like that, then we would likely move to our own circuit and have a little more, not necessarily freedom, but a little more control over our own Wi-Fi. We could capture email addresses or something like that that could then be turned around to our communications and our promotions and things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've sort of talked a little bit about the future and some of the things that are sort of on the horizon. Are there any particular projects you're either currently working on or have in the pipeline that are really exciting you over the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I mean, I know this is going to sound so weird, but I know you've probably been to many venues. And one thing that we have started to do here with our concessionaire, our partner Oakview Group, is our frictionless experience and how we can get our customers, our guests, through our concession stands in a much quicker pace. While we haven't gone with like iFi or Amazon Just Walk Out, our concessionaire has created where we have a self checkout system and we have deployed these things all over the stadium. And it has really increased the time in line for all of our fans and also definitely our revenue on top of that. So
So just
we're,
the speed and throughput at your concessions because of that change. I mean, I
yes,
find it
sir.
fascinating. Just small tweaks at concessions, whether it's changing the menu boards to have less items, or things like just making taking away that friction of I'm tapping on and I'm going through.
Yes, sir.
Taking away 5 to 10 seconds, like when you've got thousands of people in your venue, such a game changer.
It really is. And so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at adding more of those in our football stadium as well as our basketball arena. And how can we make that fan experience just a little bit better by getting them their food and beverages at a quicker pace?
And how many people would be at just to give people an understanding of the size and the volume? How many people would be at a football game?
Yeah, our football stadium holds 60,000 and then our basketball arena holds 15,000. So we don't have a ton of concourse space. It was the way that our stadium was built is it was built on grade.
Hmm.
And, some years later, they decided, oh, we need to make this larger. So they took that and they put it on train tracks and moved it out and then dug down to create the lower bowl. So that's how we've kept our concourse the same size for many years. So we have to make do.
And that's the thing, like the older stadium designs, as you said, sort of that had smaller concourses that didn't have that wider space for activations or
Hmm.
pop-up concessions, really makes, I guess, customer flow and having people know where to go, and again those time savings, like they begin, because it's a far cheaper thing to solve than we need to build a new stadium or widen the concourse. Like that construction cost
Exactly.
is phenomenal. Are you looking at some of those? I guess they might seem small wins, but they become big wins in aggregate.
Exactly. Yeah. We take a belly up concession stand that, the lines are perpendicular to the stand, and we take the line and we run it through the stand instead, and it's a parallel line, and we create concourse space, which our fire marshal loves that, but we're also getting people through there at a much quicker pace. So that's the biggest thing, is maybe it makes our bathroom line a little bit nicer as well. So
absolutely, but it's also, I mean, the good thing about having a fan base that keeps turning up, you would have a lot of regulars. Like they would have a certain pattern to what they need to do. So it's just there's just that education tweak to say, this is what Frictionless looks like, or this is how this is why we've done this change. And once those types of fans understand it, like, they adopt pretty quickly, and it can be pretty smooth. But that education teething piece is pretty important.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Whenever we rolled out our first walk-through concession stand, we had plenty of people there working to show them how you do this. Here's how you approach it. Here's the new entrance. Here's everything you need to know about this stand to make your life easier. And just educate them. Just educate however we can to our fans to make their experience the best that it can be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, JP, I really do appreciate you coming on the podcast. Yes, I hope there's a way that I can come to a Red Raiders game at some point and sort of get it in my schedule. I want to get to the Sports Geek closing 5.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the first sports event you ever attended?
Yeah, the first sports event I attended was actually a motorsports event. It was the NHRA Fall National Drag Races.
Okay.
I was very young, probably 10 or 11 years old.
Absolutely terrific. We were there talking about concessions. You would have been to a lot of different sports events in your time. Do you have a favourite food, or a favourite go-to food, or a favourite food memory at a sports event?
Yes, sir. So my go-to food, being from West Texas, being from Texas in general, is going to be barbecue.
Yep.
If someone has a good barbecue sandwich or a good barbecue option, I'm there.
I concur with that, as I've been lucky enough to be to Texas a few times, and the barbecue in Texas is well and truly worth the trip.
Yes, sir.
What's the first app you open in the morning?
That for me is going to be either local news, if there's something that's popped up overnight, or it's going to be Twitter. I refuse to call it X. It's still Twitter, no matter what Elon Musk says.
I'm with you. It's looking less and less like Twitter most days, but yeah, I still call it Twitter because it doesn't make sense to call it X.
Yes, sir.
Is there someone that you follow? They might be someone that still is on Twitter, or it might be an author or someone or a colleague that you follow that the podcast listeners should give a follow, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was someone that a professor recommended to me in college. It's McCann Sports Law.
Okay.
This guy, Michael McCann, he just does sports law. It's really intriguing to me to see everything that he covers in the world of sports and how it pertains to everything that we're doing these days.
Absolutely, and I think there's more and more things that have that overlap with the law. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So it's always good to keep an eye on those kind of things. Lastly, and you can answer this however way you want, but what social media platform is your MVP?
For me, it's going to be Twitter for sports news, and then Instagram for, let's call it brain rot. You just want to sit on the couch and decompress for a little bit and see what's going on. Instagram's my go-to.
Absolutely. I think there's potential that those two could be swapped. Like, you can get a lot of brain rot on X these days, but
That's true.
I can understand your point there, where you just want to tune out and you want to catch up with your friends and what's happening. So makes perfect sense. JP, what is the best way I always ask listeners to reach out, say thank you. What is the best platform for people to reach out and say thank you on?
Yeah, it'll be Twitter, X as well. I'm fortunate. I heard your podcast with David Jones. I was one of the early adopters, so my handle is at JPWilliams2, the number 2.
Yep. 2 because you're the second one, or is it 2? Is
yes,
the number
sir.
2 significant?
I am the second JP Williams in my family.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. Oh, that's fine. Well, again, you're part of the club like myself that has my name as my handle.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for coming on the pod. Look forward to catching up with you next time in your part of the world. Most likely it'll be at Seat. So thanks very much.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
And hit stop.